That was fucking...
Repent! The end is done! The fishes have no life!
Yes. Yes. Jim's dad. Yeah, it is weird, man. It's a weird little movie, and I love watching it. You guys were, for most of the movie, about as bloodthirsty as Chicago, which was to say, not a lot, very quiet. But then, once Melissa gets killed, everything ratchets up a notch. You guys came in about equal with Kansas City. They were pretty bloodlusty, so well done. Okay, we got mics, we got people lined up. Let's rock them. One here. Is there any upstairs? Just these two. Just these two? Good. Hey, man, how are you?
What's going on, sir? It's good to see you again.
Good to see you. How are you?
Right on. I guess it's like a 9-part question, as in, how did you convince Schwalbach to be a Jesus freak and say, the Lord is my Savior, and get shot in the fucking head by John Goodman?
My dick is just that good. I meant small. That was, it wasn't that difficult, man. Schwalbach, for those of you who don't know, first off, how many people here listen to any shows on CBS? I suspected a lot of you. Thank you. And while we're on that subject, thank you for coming out tonight. It means the world to me. I know we asked you to pay a premium to see this flick. We're going to try to make it worth it for you for the rest of the night, but I appreciate it so much. My thanks to you. This little tour of ours is a dream come true. You guys being here makes that possible. Thank you for doing that. In exchange, or as a way of saying thank you, I swear to God, you go to smodcast.com from now until the end of time. It'll always be free. Free, free, free. Okay, for those of you that don't know Smodcast and all that nonsense, my wife is in the movie. She's one of the believers in the church, one of the Cooper clan. She's the one wearing a purple shirt. Looks like she's enjoying shit a little too much. She'll be the first to tell you, Jennifer, that she's no actress, but every time we make a flick, she's like, I want to be in it. And I'm like, yeah, but this is a professional thing, and there's money involved, and I can't really put you in the movie. You're not an actress. She's like, Jason Mewes wasn't an actor. And I was like, yeah, but he's, Jay and Silent Bob. And she's just like, you put all your friends in the movie. Why not your best friend? And I was like, Scott Mosier? So I was like, all right, man, we'll get you there. We try to put her in the flick, every flick I do. She just likes to be around and shit. She's not really, she's like a baby in the car. She doesn't care where she goes. She just enjoys the ride. So we sit there, man, and, as we're getting ready for the flick, I'm like, okay, you got to do some church-type stuff in the movie. She's like, oh, what do you mean? Because my wife is a flat-out atheist, like hardcore. I'm Christian. I'm not a hardcore Christian and shit, where I'm just like, hey, everybody, let me tell you about my best friend, Jesus. But I identify as Christian. I was raised Catholic and whatnot, and I believe in the Christian faith and whatnot. I'm just not one of those people that slams it down other people's throats, but my wife is my Lex Luthor. If I was Christian Superman, she's just flat out atheist Lex Luthor. Like when we're on a plane together taking off or landing, I always reach over, she's sitting to my right, take her hand, and I say 2 silent prayers. Do a silent cross, I do an Our Father and an act of contrition to cover my ass just in case we hit the ground. And as I do that, I don't pray out loud like, oh Lord, please protect all these on this plane, I'm just quietly praying to myself and shit, holding her hand, and invariably, no matter where we are, no matter how, if there's turbulence, or if it looks like, oh my God, this is shaky, it's time to pray. It doesn't fucking matter. No matter when it is, if I'm quietly saying those prayers, holding her hand, invariably, to my right, I always hear this. So she don't dig it. She don't dig it at all. Sometimes I'll sit there and talk about my faith, and she's like, and what about Santa and the Easter Bunny and all that, So it's cool. We like to keep things electric in our house and whatnot. So I'm just kind of used to her not being a church person. She went to church with me once when we baptized the kid, and she tried to rescue her from getting drowned. So religion's not her thing, especially organized religion. So here we are, shooting a chapel. She's a member of this little church, this subterranean chapel and shit. And so I was like, go over to her about the second, third take of something. I said, I need a little more from you, man. I want to get you praying or something like that. She's like, what do you mean praying? I And I was like, praying, man. Like, everyone all in this church is praying. Like, they're all kind of believers and stuff. So I think when James Parks played her husband, when he gets up, goes to the cross, and starts fucking binding the dude up, we're going to go from a 2-shot to a single of you. And when we're on the single of you, I want you to, like, give me some pray or something. Just a little quick cutaway. I need, like, 3 seconds so I can cut to you at a certain point. And she's like, okay, just pray? I said, just pray. She's like, all right. So I go back behind the monitor and sit down and shit. And I watch my wife, who's an atheist who doesn't go to church at all, do her impression of acting like she's praying. And this is what I swear to you, this is what it looked like. It's like some kind of David and Goliath, man. Or yoga. I think she was doing a yoga move. And I'm standing next to John Gordon, man. John Gordon's a producer on the movie, and John's Jewish. He goes like, I know I'm Jewish, but that don't look Christian. So I had to go over and be like, that's not how they pray. So she was, I don't know, she had a lot of fun kind of doing it, but the weird thing was I told her from the jump, I was like, if you're going to be in it, you got to be one of the Cooper family. She's like, okay. I was like, that means at some point you're going to have to carry a gun. She's like, I don't like guns. And she's pretty, I wouldn't say she's anti-gun, but she's just pretty strong gun control person. Like when her parents moved in with us, Byron and Gail, Byron's her stepdad and Gail's mom, when they moved in with us, when Harley was born, Byron had been a cop in Coral Springs, Florida for like 25 years. So he had a piece, and she was just like, not in this house. We got a kid in this house. You can't have the gun here. And Byron finally gave up his gun after like a fucking quarter of a century and shit. But it means something to her. When the kid was almost 1 year old, her birthday's in June. May prior to that, Mother's Day, that's Jen's first Mother's Day. And I was like, what do you want to do? How do you want to celebrate? And she said, I want you to take me to Washington with the whole family, and we're going to go to the Million Mom March, which was a march for gun control. And I was like, okay, but I just want to point out for the record, man, that like, we do this, people are going to call me a pussy. She was like, they can call you a pussy or you cannot get pussy. And I was like, let's march on Washington. And, so we went, it was totally cool and stuff. She's just not a gun person by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm like, you're going to have to fire a gun in this movie. She's like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, you got it. She can't just hold the gun and go bang, 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 bang. And I was like, not in this movie. That was the last movie. So I said, listen, man, you got to put some time in with Scotty Props. Had this props department. Scotty, he's one of the believers in the church, too. He plays Jeb, the one that's kind of sitting to the left. He's dead at the end when the smoke bomb goes through and then when the ATF start fucking breaching. So I said, you go off with Scotty Props for like a half an hour. He'll teach you how to fire automatic weapons and stuff like that. I'm going to go shoot something. I'll meet you back here lunchtime, about half an hour. And she was like, okay. So she went off to do her thing. I went off to do my thing. I came back around lunchtime to the bus, and she wasn't there. And I was waiting for her. Half hour goes by. She still didn't return. An hour goes by. She's still fucking not back. And finally, she rolls into the fucking bus, hair all tasseled and shit. Bow-legged a little bit, looked like she'd been fucked. She just kind of came in and leaned in the doorway, smoking a cigarette, and she was like, I was firing guns. I was like, did you like it? She's like, too much. I was like, really, man? She's like, don't bring it up. I was like, all right, man. So she was kind of into it, man. She was just like, oh, the power. It's like a vibrator with bullets. I was like, that's weird. So she was, she put some practice into it and shit. She was kind of ready to do the gunfight. But there's also a moment where, as you see, she gets killed and shit. And killing anybody on camera, particularly if it's a gunshot, has its own set of complications. Like when we killed the deputy, when James Parks shoots Matt, the deputy, boom, we used an air ram, like this ratchet thing where you got a stunt person who's taking the hit, has a harness on under their clothes, the rope that goes out the back. It's attached to this hydraulic air ram so that when somebody goes like bang, they hit the lever and poof, it just yanks the person back in the air. So we were going to do that for Jen on the rooftop as well, but the building is kind of old and they're like, you can't put heavy equipment up there. So we had to do it kind of poor man style. Poor man style is essentially you throw a rope around a tree and two dudes go like this, and she falls back. So naturally, the timing has to be right. She has to fucking fall back while she's firing, and let the gun go without fucking letting it hit her in the head and act like she's been shot in the head, so a little bit of performance. But, you know, there's a couple things going on there. We did 5 or 6 takes, and everything wouldn't match up until the 6th take. Finally, you know, she was firing, she did the I got hit thing, and they yanked, and I felt like I could work with it. I was like, I can cut around it and shit like that. I'll make it work. So I'm like, that's it, we're gonna go to the next thing. And she's like, no, wait, you didn't get it. And I was like, I got enough that I needed, man. We're gonna do this other piece, we're gonna go close on you firing the gun, and then you just give me the head flip and I can cut into that other shot. And she's like, but I want it to be perfect. And I was like, don't worry about it, man. Editing will take care of it, shit. I was like, now take off the harness, we're gonna get the pads out of here, we're just gonna do close up you firing the guns and shit. So we move the pads out, the stun pads, and whatnot. And all she's doing now, no harness, she's not gonna get pulled. She's gonna stand there, shoot the gun, go like that, and then we cut. So she's standing there, I'm watching her in the monitor. You know, I'm watching how you direct movies, you watch a little TV. And I was watching her in the monitor, and there she is in the frame, and she's like, brr, brr, and then all of a sudden, she does the head throwback, and launches herself 2 feet backwards. So I'm looking at this little frame, and all of a sudden, my wife disappeared. And I was like, what happened to Jen? You know, it's fucking gone. And all I hear then is Ben, who's is one of the stunt coordinators in the movie, Ben Jensen. I hear Ben go, Jen, you fucking idiot. Now, for somebody, you know, on the crew to say, call my wife a fucking idiot, one of 2 things has to be going on. A, they're trying to get fired, or B, she's being a fucking idiot. And when I got over, I found out it was B. There, right next to her head, on the roof of where we were, you know, she's on the roof of the Cooper clan compound right now at this point. Boom, she's been shot. There she is laying on the roof. Right next to her head is a pipe sticking up out of the roof, some sort of ventilation PVC pipe, really fucking thick. And if she'd gone back like maybe this much more, she just lands on her fucking brainstem or something like that. It would have been horrible. There were no pads. She wasn't supposed to go backwards. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? He's right. You are a fucking idiot, man. Why would you do that? You could have been fucking killed. And just like any actor or actress on the planet, she's like, did it look good? And I was like,